Have you ever smelled a fragrance that shouldn't be there? The sudden scent of roses or tobacco in a closed room? Or felt a sudden, bone-deep chill that vanishes as quickly as it came? You dismiss it. A draft. A memory. But what if it's not? What if it's a message? A desperate plea from a place most of us only whisper about. A soul, trapped between worlds, is trying to get your attention. Before we decode these signs, we must understand the man who lived with them every day. Padre Pio was not just a priest. He was a mystic, a stigmatic who bore the wounds of Christ on his own body for 50 years. He was a man who could read souls, bilocate, and lived, quite literally, with one foot in this world and one in the next. For him, the veil between earth and the afterlife was terrifyingly thin. He didn't just believe in purgatory. He met its inhabitants. They came to him constantly, sometimes as sorrowful figures, other times in terrifying forms, begging for the one thing that could release them: prayer. His experiences form the foundation for understanding these strange, often frightening, communications. If you've ever felt a connection to the unseen, his life is a testament that you are not alone. Perhaps consider subscribing as we explore more of these profound spiritual mysteries together. So, what is this place they are calling from? It's crucial to understand that purgatory is not a second hell. Catholic teaching describes it as a state of purification. It's for souls who died in God's friendship, but are not yet perfected enough to enter the sheer holiness of heaven. Think of it like a diver ascending from the deep sea. They must decompress in a chamber before they can enter the fresh air. Purgatory is that spiritual decompression chamber. The suffering there is not one of punishment from a vengeful God, but the intense, burning pain of love, the soul's own profound longing for union with God, now that it has seen Him and understands what it is missing. These souls are known as the church suffering, and they are entirely dependent on the church militant, that's us, here on earth, to help shorten their time of purification through our prayers and sacrifices. The first sign is the most subtle, and perhaps the most common. It engages your physical senses. You might suddenly perceive a smell intimately connected to a deceased loved one, the perfume your grandmother wore, the pipe tobacco your grandfather smoked. Others report a sudden, localized drop in temperature, a cold spot you walk through that makes the hair on your arm stand up. Padre Pio's own life was filled with these events. Souls would often manifest to him not just visually, but with sounds and smells. Sometimes, the smell of sulfur and decay would signal a soul in deep torment. Other times, after a soul was released through his prayers, a beautiful, unexplainable fragrance of flowers, what's known as the odor of sanctity, would fill the monastery. These are not hallucinations. They are spiritual fingerprints, a soul using the physical world to gently nudge you, to make you stop and think of them. The second sign moves from the physical world into the realm of your subconscious. This isn't just a fleeting dream where a loved one appears. These are dreams that are extraordinarily vivid, almost hyper-realistic. They are often recurring, with the same person appearing night after night. In these dreams, the deceased person rarely speaks. Instead, they convey a powerful sense of sadness, longing, or urgency. They might look disheveled, or be in a place of darkness, looking at you pleadingly. Pay attention to the feeling you have when you wake up. If you wake with a profound and unshakable sense that the dream was a genuine visitation and feel a strong urge to pray for that person, it very likely was. Padre Pio often confirmed the validity of such dreams to people who came to him for guidance. He taught that God allows this form of contact so that we, the living, can be moved to perform an act of spiritual mercy. This is where the signs can become more unnerving. This is a soul escalating its efforts to be noticed. We're talking about unexplained physical phenomena. A photograph of a loved one falling over. Lights flickering. A distinct knock on the door when no one is there. This isn't the chaotic activity of a malevolent spirit. It's more like a desperate attempt to get a message through. The most famous story from Padre Pio's life concerns a deceased soldier. One evening, Pio was praying when an old man sat near him by the fire. The man revealed he was a soldier who had died in a fire in that very monastery decades ago and was still in purgatory, purifying himself for his sins. He asked Pio to offer a mass for him. After Pio promised he would, the man vanished, leaving behind a scorched handprint on the marble mantelpiece. This was a physical, tangible sign. A soul in agony, leaving its mark to prove its reality and its need. The fourth sign is entirely internal and emotional. You might be having a perfectly normal day, and then, out of nowhere, you are hit with a wave of overwhelming melancholy. It's a profound sadness that you know, instinctively, is not your own. It often comes when you are thinking about a specific person who has passed away. This is believed to be a form of spiritual empathy, a bleeding over of the soul's own suffering into your heart. They are sharing with you a fraction of their intense longing for God, their purgation. It's a deep, aching grief. Padre Pio, who experienced the Passion of Christ in his own body, was intimately familiar with this kind of shared suffering. He understood that this was not a sign to be feared, but a grace. It is an invitation to participate in that soul's purification, to feel a hint of their pain and be moved to prayer, offering your own small sufferings of the day in union with theirs for their relief. This is the most direct and perhaps the most important sign. It's a clear call to action. You suddenly have a powerful, persistent, and unshakable urge to pray for a specific person. It could be a close relative, or it could be someone you barely knew who passed away years ago. Their name just pops into your head, and you can't get them out of your mind. This isn't just a passing thought. It feels like an assignment. This is the Holy Spirit, prompting you on behalf of that soul. The souls in purgatory, as Padre Pio taught, cannot merit anything for themselves anymore. Their time for choosing is over. But they can prompt the living. They can inspire us to do for them what they can no longer do. When this urge comes, do not ignore it. It is the clearest sign that a soul is specifically counting on you, right at that moment. Your prayer could be the very thing that tips the scales, the final act of love that purifies them and allows them to finally enter into the presence of God. So, if you experience one or more of these signs, what should you do? First, do not be afraid. This is not a horror movie. It is a call to an act of immense charity. The most powerful thing you can do is have a Mass offered for the repose of their soul. The Mass is the highest form of prayer. Second, pray for them personally. The Rosary is especially powerful, as is the prayer of Saint Gertrude, to which great promises are attached for releasing souls. Third, perform acts of penance or charity in their name. Offer up a small sacrifice, give alms to the poor, or perform an act of service, and tell God you are offering it for that specific soul. You are essentially applying your good works to their spiritual account. You are participating in the communion of saints, the beautiful reality that we are all connected in one mystical body, and that the strong can and must help the weak. These signs, from a phantom scent to a physical disturbance, are not meant to frighten us. They are windows into a spiritual reality that is constantly unfolding around us. They are the desperate whispers of our brothers and sisters who have completed their earthly journey but are not yet home. Padre Pio's life reminds us that the veil is thin and that our love is powerful enough to cross it. Our prayers are the cool water on their burning thirst for God. By answering their call, we not only help them, but we grow in holiness ourselves, reminded of our own final destination. What about you? Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? A dream, a scent, a feeling that you believe was a loved one reaching out. Share your story in the comments. Your experience might be the very sign that someone else needs to see today.